boundary starts in the beginning. Like, you got to know your worth.
Me setting boundaries is not me rejecting you. It's protecting me.
Jaden, we're not going to sit there with a bunch of idle time. Not going to allow that to happen to you. Idle time's the devil's playground, and we know where that leads. So the answer is no. What is up, YouTube family? We are back with yet another episode of our High on Jesus podcast. You are with Just in Time with Justin Hallis.
And Austin with a Y.
It is great to see you guys. And this week, the episode is called Your Chaos is Not My Calling.
I love it.
That was a great title you came up with.
I love it.
So we're still expanding on our boundaries topics that we were talking about last week, and I think that was so good. We were talking about, boundaries of people having access to us nonstop. Mm-hmm. Typically, when we're saying yes to a bunch of other stuff, we're saying no to taking care of ourselves. Right. And so there's plenty of stuff that you can go back. If you didn't watch the whole thing, go back and watch that last week. Some great content there. But this week, we're going to talk about boundaries within the four walls, as you mentioned.
Yes. Within
our homes. And it doesn't matter where you live.
Yes.
You're going to need some boundaries in your own house.
Definitely in mine. I know that.
So we got some amazing sponsors still. Big shout out to Autumn. Thank you so much. So Automatic Bail Bonds is a sponsor of ours. Again, we hope that it's not you calling, but maybe you have a friend or someone, a loved one that may need their services at one point. You can recommend them. They will get your loved one out of jail quick. Also have Journey to Greatness Sober Living Homes, men and women's houses. Yes. We got Florida Elite Monitoring. That's the ankle monitoring system that they have. Right. So sometimes people are court ordered to have a little extra monitoring going on.
Yes, a little security.
Yep.
Yes.
And so they want to know where you're at. Autumn will take care of you there. And then the last but not least, Dump Dynasty.
Well, such a great title. Such a great name.
They will take care. You got stuff to get rid of, call the dumpsters parked in your driveway.
Yep.
Fill it up and it's out of there. Hassle free. They'll take care of you. All your needs right there. Yep. So links are in the description below. Big shout out to them. Thank you so much for the sponsorship.
Absolutely.
And how's everything been going?
It's been going good. Boundaries are at work in my house. So I'm kind of excited about sharing about it today. So, but,
oh yes, I'm learning more and more as well.
Yes.
When this drops, actually, this will be the first official week of summer. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know. Again, I don't know if that's a dream or a nightmare.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah, probably.
Since working from home, like that's a whole, thinking about that. So, because I usually would be working in the restaurant, the kids would go with their dad when we both have been restaurants. And so we used to have that schedule. But now that I'm working from home, it could be a good thing to have teenagers at home to take, to help me with Tristan, or that whole chaos thing we were talking about in the topic today. That could be within the home and trying to work there. So we'll grow through it no matter what it is. But
ours is, I used to, like, in the past years, just had like chaotic, just still doing so much stuff that was all piled on the schedule. And so we would always do the summer, camps or whatever. Mm-hmm. Actually, Woodland locally had a great one that she was in for years. And I mean, they covered a whole day. It's like 6:30 a.m. till 6 p.m. Like, I mean, you can, keep them there all, but that's an extra cost, know, but you got to weigh. I'm not going to lie. There were some summers where
it's like, can you pick a week, this week, maybe next week?
You actually can. I think they have the ability to sometimes do that, but I'm not going to lie. There were some summers where it was worth the money. Just, I love you, Layla, but we'll see.
We're going to let you have purpose this summer.
We'll see you later on. Yeah. But then somewhere along the line, she wasn't digging it as much. I think it was one of the first summers was, financials go up and down. We're going to talk about finances coming up next episode, actually. But, just had a summer where I could use a little reprieve and not, two something a week or whatever it was charging. Yeah. And, so now I think the past few summers, we just done the stay at home thing. Mm-hmm. But what I don't like is when it's just a free for all, because I would assume that our kids are like anyone else's kids watching, if you have some younger ones, when they sense that you're busy or into something else, chaos ensues.
Yes. Well, can I get it? Yes.
Well, for us, or even if she's not on me, that's even worse because I know something's going down that shouldn't be. And something crazy is happening.
When it's quiet.
Yeah.
Yes.
The science project got started downstairs all over the counter.
Maybe she got the cotton candy machine, from the
cotton candy flying all over the place. Yeah. Had to grab it with the net, with the butterfly net, keep it all down.
I mean, we've got summer camps, for church camp. My kids are going to be counselors this year, my 3 teenagers. So they're looking forward to that.
Nice.
Tristan's going to go. Well, she's going to try. I think the only place she's ever stayed overnight other than my parents' house is at your house. And I think she tried to leave.
Probably.
But you put the...
No, she was.
She's trying to beg and plead. You're like, nope. If you're coming over, you're staying the whole night.
She stayed. She did good.
Yeah. So, church camp for 3 days for Tristan, I think could be really good. With going back and forth to me and her dad's, I think a third place for her to get some Jesus and, just really get to dive in with friends because she loves to make new friends and, she's watched her siblings for years go. So now it's her time, she's going to be in 3rd grade next year.
Nice.
So. Yeah, so that in itself
good
is
stuff. So I actually signed up Layla for an overnight camp as well through Oasis Church.
Okay.
And this is going to be her first time going to anything like that. I actually had a bad experience at some church camps when I was younger. I don't know, probably don't want to go into all that now, but just kind of like bullied, ganged up on, some other crazy stuff that happened when I feel like we weren't being, watched properly. And how people act when there's no one on top of them. I think it was just like too many people from too many different places and walks of life, 200-300, type style kid camps. Oh. I actually had a couple really bad experiences, but maybe we'll save that for another story. Don't want to go into that now. But, so I've always been super hesitant to let Layla go to any of that because I do not want nothing to happen to me happening to my baby. So I can't say enough about the staff at Oasis Church.
Amen to that.
They have people that are in charge of the kids program that Layla's been very, very active with and committed to over the past couple years here. And just to see her love to want to go to church, she volunteers, she serves, she wants to be a part of. I mean, you can't put a price tag on that. And just when I express some of what I went through and in talking to them, they've been over and beyond getting back with me saying, hey, here's what's going to happen. There's not going to be a bunch of kids in a bunch of other places, whatever it is, just giving me feedback to assure like everything's going to be good. So we're going to try that. We're going to send her out there. And I'm actually taking a little sabbatical during that time. Yeah, this has been many years in the making. I need a little downtime. I need time to connect with God. So taking a couple weeks there and like one of them goes over that particular week. So I'll actually literally have complete alone time. It's going to be really nice. I almost don't even know if I know what to do.
You want to say the dates so we can all call?
No, I'm putting my boundary up.
It's good.
No phone calls,
right.
But I'm looking forward to that. Really am.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we've been trying to figure out when we're going to go. My nephew is actually graduating at the end of this month, and we're not going to be able to go, but. Well, we'll have a plan in place for later in the summer. There you go. So, yeah.
Well, comment below what you guys are doing for summertime.
Yeah, or if you have any ideas to keep the kids busy.
Right. For sure.
So what are we wearing today, Justin?
I think it seems like we're matching here.
I know,
you got the automatic bail bond shirt on. I like that. Somewhere between Jesus and jail.
Amen. I'm glad I'm on the side of Jesus today, the further I get away from jail. The only time I want to go back to jail is when I'm taking a message there,
That's right.
So
that's right.
I look forward to that. So,
no doubt about that. That's cool. I like that.
Yes. Stylish. And what do you have on today?
So I got the High on Jesus. I got the lime green. All the merch is available online. I got the link in the description below. It's on our website. And this week, I'm not gonna lie, it is one of my favorites, but really unique shoe. So this is the off-white rubber dunk in the green colorway. So basically Virgil Abloh, he was a designer. Off-white was his brand that he had. Just phenomenal guy, just the genius that he put into everything that he did is just unmatched. He was actually working for Louis Vuitton for a little while. He actually passed. Unfortunately, when that happened, all his stuff like just went crazy on the market. But what is so different about him is like, so typically if people do a collab, it's like Jordan says, hey, we'll let you do your thing on the one low, and they'll throw a little name brand of theirs and just call it a day. He would like dismantle the whole shoe with X-Acto knives. And I mean, just there's some timeless pieces that he created that no one's ever going to replicate. He just like anything that he did, he gave his all to, and just like the genius on this guy. So this particular model, usually they give you, say, hey, you know, collab on the Dunk or the Air Force One or the a model they already make. So this rubber Dunk, this is something that he came up with all on his own. So it was a model that has never been made before, never to be made again, obviously. So this is just out of his genius. And I like the lime green. They're super comfy. It's a very, very nice shoe.
Okay.
So, yeah. All right. It is one of my favorites. I'm not gonna lie. maybe 1 week I'll say something different. But
maybe I'll get a pair one day.
There you go. And what do you got going on?
I've got my cross boots on again. They are super comfortable.
Back to back.
Yep, back to backs. I know Justin doesn't do back to backs, but I've got my boots on.
That's nice.
My boundary boots, I guess I could call it.
Boundary boots. I love it. Boots are made for walking.
Yes, that's right. Yep.
I like them though. The crosses.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Good times.
We do have some Hey Dude fans in the chat. You bringing those back next week, maybe?
I've got a couple pair I'm looking at.
Okay.
So, yep. We'll have to bring this back next week.
Nice.
Maybe some animal print, something.
After you said something and we looked it up, there's like some of the shoe groups I'm in, they were spamming. It was, what was it, a Caddyshack?
Yeah, Caddyshack.
I was like, Caddyshack collab for Hey Dudes. If you want them, they're available. Flannel.
And maybe if we get like, 1,000 likes, Justin will have to wear a pair of Hey Dudes.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. I will take up that challenge. We get 1,000 likes on this video, you will see me in a pair of Hey Dudes.
Yes, there you go.
Challenge accepted.
I love it. All right.
So good. So I got something for you each week. Kind of want to bring up just like, you know, something current or whatever, just like crazy news story. So I got something for you. Did you hear the story about the guy that he wins the Powerball and he gets arrested like 4 days later in Florida? So
you have your dream, you win.
Right. Like everyone is just like, that's everyone's prayer.
I wonder how many times this happens though.
I wonder how many people like close and like, Lords want to pray for the family and a couple things. And Lord, if you see it in your foreseeable future, can I please win the Powerball? Jesus' name. Amen.
I don't hear nothing about going to jail 4 days later.
So the dream comes true for this guy, right? It's an interesting story. So they're from Kentucky. Okay. Just imagine this, right? Like, so he buys the $2 Powerball ticket for old mom. They win $167 million. That's crazy, man. Right? I couldn't even imagine what that feeling.
That's
like,
game
what
changer.
is it in lifetime? Like, if you always like think about it, but imagine you're reading the numbers and like each one being drawn is on your ticket and you realize like, that you just hit it.
Yeah.
So basically, him and mom win. I like it because like maybe I think she should have put some boundaries up because they both get to go cash the check. So apparently he's getting, entitled to half of this.
So it's made out to both of them, like,
apparently.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So they're both coming up. He's celebrating. I'm paying off debts. I'm doing this, that, and the other. So let's just, before we go to the rest story, let's just do the background because they throw that in at the end. So basically he just got off parole in 2024. So I believe he just got let out of prison in 2024, right? So there's a slew of charges. He's a convicted felon, drug charges, theft charges, organized crime. They mentioned also, right? So he gets out
not his first day, yeah.
Definitely not his first rodeo. So he gets out of prison less than a year ago, hits the Powerball.
Okay, so he has no charges pending. Like he's walking away clean.
He was out on parole, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what the details of that were. Okay. But so maybe he should have had some boundaries up, knowing what he could or couldn't handle. But like, so apparently from Kentucky. Somehow he gets to St. Pete Beach, him and his girlfriend. And, of course, I would assume that. So I talked to someone who supposedly may or may not have known some people up there through law enforcement, and they said that he was way more than drunk. Like, there was probably a slew of other substances going on. Apparently, altercations break out at this Trade Winds resort. Him and his girlfriend trying to fight all these people. Cops come to the scene, and apparently through them trying to chill them out, whatever, he kicks one of the cops in the head.
So now he's got battery on a Leo.
Absolutely.
And he breaks out in handcuffs.
Felony charge. So
he's on his next rodeo now.
So he hits a Powerball, and then 4 days later,
so mom's sitting pretty now.
He's getting locked up. Like, oh man, I feel like there's a reason God didn't let me hit the Powerball when I was out there ripping and running, because I wouldn't be here anymore.
I'd either be in jail or dead.
Yeah, 100%. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I feel like, unfortunately for this guy, that's probably what occurred, and that's like, giving a huge leash, letting someone just go off the chain to someone, that just hadn't dealt with those issues yet. Yeah. So unfortunately for this guy,
should have a plan in place.
Yeah, locked up.
So I guess I need to make a plan for when I win the lotto, right. So I don't break out in handcuffs too. Yes. Okay.
That's right. I think we're at a place now that we can definitely handle that.
Yes.
But it sounds good, but God won't let me gamble, man. I've tried to do it in some different ways, and it never works out. I had to go cold turkey on that one too.
Was that a big part of was gambling a big thing for you?
I mean, it wasn't until it was, then I found myself, going from gas station to gas station to get more scratch offs, and then, buying this lotto ticket and that, and just like always thinking about it. And it's the same. I feel like with any addiction, it's like when it starts taking over, going to a place, it shouldn't, it's like something you're always thinking about in the background.
Or one more.
Right.
That next one's going to be
this is it. This next one is going to get me out of the hole, baby.
Doesn't matter that it's blue $4.50 on $50 scratch offs, but this next $2 one's going to make me hit.
It's going to be $1,000 winner. Yeah. I'm coming back.
I get it.
So, I had to hang that one up. And then, my son, he messes around sometimes with the Hard Rock. Mm-hmm. They have the Hard Rock app.
I was there for my 21st birthday.
Right.
Yes.
So the sports betting, and same thing. I was like, well, maybe I could do it, and started doing it for a while. Then all of a sudden,
wear your lucky shoes.
Up, now we're down, and then I'm getting mad at the game, and I'm like, man, this is dumb, man. And they just lost my money over and over. And I'm
so like all the joy that basketball or whatever sport brings you, like it just took away.
Kind of, yeah. Because your team could be winning, but if you put the props on the other guy and he's not putting up his score or whatever, rebounds, whatever he needs to be, then you lose. And it would always be like, I'd have like a 4-leg prop, and just all three of them would hit, and the one guy would be like 1 or 2 points away. My son always jokes, he's like, oh, he got the call from Vegas. Like, they called her like, hey, bench him, like, don't let him score another point, because then all these people are going to win. And
makes you wonder sometimes.
I mean, I'm serious. They got the call, he says.
Why does the World Series always go 7 games? I've always wondered that a lot.
So he was doing, let him learn his own lesson with that. He was doing really good for a while, but I think he was a little on a losing streak, so he's chilled out a bit too.
All right.
But, teach their own, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling on that one.
Mm-hmm. We need shirts. So what do we have on the comment crawl?
So the comment crawl, every single episode, we're going to bring some comments back. Some of them are from old videos. Some are from the current episodes. We always throw at least one comment from the current podcast. So just feel free, comment, how God spoke to you through it, what it meant to you. We may be reading yours. So this is one comment from some time ago, talking about a video with me and Bonnie. It said, I'm so happy that you two made it through the rough times. I'm proud of you for both sharing the real hardships in a true relationship. No one is perfect. God's promises help out so much. Awesome share.
That's real. Do you know who wrote it?
Yeah.
I see a question mark.
Yeah. So someone from the past that shared it, but I don't know. I think it was, just real that, someone acknowledging that we're both real enough to kind of share the ups and downs the ins and outs of our relationship and just not sugarcoat things. I think so many people like to just pretend, hey, here's the side of you I'm going to show on Facebook. Here's the side I'm going to show when I see you in person. But how many of us are just like real and transparent with, hey, this is how it really is. Like, you know, I can give some good marriage advice because we've learned a lot over the past few years. But I mean, even sometimes, you know, Curly is not maybe like a 10, you know, maybe in 8 for whatever reason, you know. So, I mean, I could be honest and transparent about that. But, you know, I try to put all the flaws and make it an open book out there for people to possibly try to save them years of pain and heartache that I went through in the past. And, you know, hopefully they don't have to go through the same experience.
I mean, I know I reach out to you and Bonnie multiple times about situations, you know, and even, you know, when Brian and I were watching episode 3, the one on relationships, you know, I felt like I was kind of tiptoeing around some of the content that I was sharing that day because he's a very private person. You know, I am reserved in some of the things, but I want to share with everyone here and be transparent. But after watching it, he kind of gave me the go ahead. He's like, I could tell you were kind of, you know, I don't want you to feel that way. So like, I'm not going to run with that, but like, it felt good that he could see that the joy and the, you know, but that other people could grow through what I've been through. And, you know, the suggestions that you've given me have helped me he and I actually, you know, get to where we are. So
it's awesome.
I'm like really grateful for you and Bonnie. So all the things you've been through, I don't have to go through if I ask for suggestions.
That's nice. He gave it a green light. Yes. He kind of, people can see us and know that like, oh, we're kind of not sharing, you know, the whole thing for whatever reason. Yeah. So that's cool. He recognized
I'm not here
that
for gossip or, you know, to open our whole lives, you know, up, you know, on camera. Right. You know, I'm just here to share what we've been through, but also keep our private life private. Yeah. So for him to see that I can do that, you know, anything's possible, I guess, with God. So
that's what we have to do. I mean, we're talking about real topics, and obviously we got to bring some type of experience and
absolutely,
you know, from that. So this is from Sarah. She said, it's hugely important to recognize parents are still human beings and you have to give yourself that grace. This came from the podcast episode where we were talking about children, right? Said, I'm sure your kids recognize how hard you work and how far you've come, even if sometimes they miss the mark on letting you know. Including them in your recovery journey provides an insight that prepares them for life when they leave the house. They remove the shame of an association with the disease of addiction when you take that secrecy away, and may help bring some awareness to their own predisposition for the disease. Love, hand up to victory, and high on Jesus, and the work you guys do in the community is highly needed and appreciated. Don't quit. What do you think of that?
So where it says, I'm sure your kids recognize how hard you work and how far you've come, even if they miss the mark on letting you know. Well, for Mother's Day, my son hand wrote me a beautiful, like, I can't even, it's pretty private, but I asked him, could I talk about it? And I didn't even know about that comment. So like it relates so well because Beckett, you know, Beckett, he's very reserved. He doesn't really say much. What he put in that letter was like, he went through my addiction with me. He's like, I don't know how to start this out, but like, let's start in the past. And I was like, oh, here we go. We're on Mother's Day. Great. Let's relive the past, you know. But he was like, anytime I need something today, whether it's money and you're struggling, you make sure I get what I have. And he was just like, I'm so proud to call you mom. And he's like, I can't wait to walk through the next bit with you. And he knows that I'm struggling. And he actually came out with the fact that he was actually going through an addiction with me. Most of it was video games. And he has overcome that. He said he's like 6 months, you know, because his anger was probably rooted in my addiction, you know, a lot of it from me being absent. But he's overcome all of that. You know, he loves high on Jesus. He loves going to church. It's just amazing how through the addiction, if you allow your kids to walk with you through it and you keep that open door policy of conversation, it just, I don't know, for him to handwrite that letter on Mother's Day, we're about to walk into church and he's like, here, Mom. I'm like, I couldn't have asked for a gift anything better than that handwritten note from my son. So I love you, Beckett.
That's so good.
Yeah. So it was good. So but that's what that made me feel right there, that they remove the shame of an association with the disease of addiction when you take that secrecy away. When you have that honesty with your kids, I think that it's breaking generational curses.
Absolutely. Yeah, the fact that you can be honest about your story opens him up to say like, well, actually, I struggle with something too. But if you act like everything's fine, you got it all taken care of, then they're going to do the same exact thing.
Yep. So that was good. He got me good. What do you?
So powerful. I mean, just the same thing, just being able to, I'm transparent with my kids about everything that I've been through. I just look at it as a lot of stuff. My mom tried to shelter me a bit, growing up. But I mean, the downside to that is the kids are at school are the ones that are going to tell you about it.
Right.
So I'd rather tell my kids about it myself, tell them the ups and downs and, here's the pros and cons to this.
Right.
And then, you can make your own decision from there.
But have a plan in place,
100% bringing them to the recovery meetings. Let's just say my son in particular. So the good news is Layla's never seen me anything but sober. She's never seen me on drugs or alcohol, and she's never going to.
Amen.
Because, I'm willing to do whatever it takes every day to keep saying that. But, so she can't really relate to that side. But Jaden, his house was kind of broken up because of drugs and alcohol. So I've been transparent about every piece of the story. I brought him to meetings with me. I've let him know this is the future if you want to go down this particular road.
Right.
But just him being able to see like there is something better. And he had his little, struggle with something also. But same thing. He was able to recognize it. Okay, I could see where this is a problem. I could see where it's not helping me. It's just hindering me. And he's doing amazing, man. He's pharmacy tech certified. He's working at the pharmacy and he's going after his doctorate. So I'm really
amazing. Yeah.
Really proud of him.
Yep.
So don't quit. We need that sometimes. We need to hear that.
Yeah, absolutely we do.
So all right, so we got another. So now we got someone rocking me, a little comedic relief. Aaron Smith said, "Another prisoner turned pastor. You are a cliche."
Wait, were you ever in prison?
I love it, man. Some of these I forgot about, but I'm going back to all the comments and I've seen it.
Like your Rolodex.
Another prisoner turned pastor. You are a cliche. I don't think so. That a lot of these come from a short. Somehow the shorts get in front of like other people from walks of life because people just rock God on there or like rock, I'm a heretic or whatever. You get it from all angles. I don't think that I revealed my background on that short. So my question was, did she like look me up online to see what my criminal history was, or do I just look the part?
Because that's Christian too,
So I just had like, do I just look like a prisoner just from looking at me?
Because we have addiction in our past, we're prisoners, or we've been to jail. There's some people that have been addicts and never been to jail. Right?
Absolutely. Bonnie never got arrested.
Oh, that's right. Well, she got some stories.
She somehow made it through. I don't know. I guess so that's my first laugh when I seen it. So I guess so if you're fully tattooed out there, you're a prisoner. Just so you know. That's what people are gonna think immediately off rip.
Yeah.
And then like I wanted to say, so I guess it was ERIN, so I guess it was a woman.
Okay.
So they probably changed the way I thought of it. But I was gonna say like so I guess you're just another person that goes around and takes shots at people online that are trying to do some good in the world. You're a cliche, my friend. Like everybody does that, buddy. Everyone goes around and rocks people in comments.
It makes you wonder if she was a prisoner a little bit. Like, I don't know.
I think it's because it has to do with you see so many people like they go to jail. All of a sudden,
God.
Yeah, I found God. I'm all doing all this stuff with Jesus. They come back out. The connection's lost. They go back to the same thing, right? Over and over again. I think it's because, like, typically, I found Jesus in jail is kind of like a cliche, quote unquote, we'll say.
So therefore, you're a cliche too. Okay.
I thought it was funny. So technically, actually, I've never been to prison. I've only been to the Manatee County Jail many, many times. I was close though. That the score was there. Like they even said one more.
For me too.
Yeah, one more thing, and you're definitely going. But God did not have that in the plan for me, and don't plan on ever going to prison. But I'm a multiple time convicted felon. Yes, I've been incarcerated in Manatee County Sheriff's Office jail. But guess what? I'm here now, baby. God didn't said that's not the end of the story. This is it. Like, I'm going to use you for something different. And if you think that's a cliche, that's okay.
Yes, right.
Because I know what God has intended for me.
I would be in prison too if it wasn't for the drug court hit program. I mean, people are like, how did you, look, because I'm all bubbly and stuff. Like, don't let that fool you. Like, I did some stupid stuff, and I'm grateful for the drug court program because I wouldn't be sitting here today. I would definitely be in prison.
No doubt.
Yeah.
And I got to throw this out here just one time in the comments because I just think it's funny. Don't people I'll tell you what a cliche is. People that put all this stuff on the keyboard, but they wouldn't say none of that to your face if they actually seen you.
Definitely.
We live in a society where everyone's super tough behind the closed doors, behind the keyboard, but they wouldn't be saying none of that stuff to your face that they put online. Not. And people are vicious.
They
in
are.
The comments.
They're worse than middle school girls.
I have seen some stuff where they annihilate people. I've seen some stuff with God where it's just a public comment. Someone says something about God, then there's 48 replies, and people say the meanest stuff about God. It's crazy, man.
Put that energy into something productive. Could you even imagine how great the world might be?
Absolutely.
If we were having those conversations instead of on our keyboards.
Oh, man.
Absolutely.
You got to build each other up, tear each other down.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So we're going to talk about our boundaries.
At home.
Start within the house. That's going to be, really it's relational. I think, it's with any relationship that we have with probably anybody, but I just think the
ones we bring home with us,
the house is where we're always at. The house is filled with people that we can't get away from, no matter where you live at. Right?
Not even at the bathroom. Not even.
Right, for real. Whether it's a sober living house, whether it's a roommate, or whether it's, your spouse and your kids. They're always there.
Yeah,
they're not leaving.
Yeah, they're consistent.
Yeah. So where does that start? Where do we start the conversation about putting boundaries up? Maybe when it comes to our spouses, what does that look like? So,
my current situation, which I've shared about before, Brian and I met last year. We were both living at Journey to Greatness, in the separate male and female, houses. We chose in November to move in together. We spoke to you about, making that decision. You're like, are you sure? I have 4 children. Tristan goes to her dad's every 2 to 3 days on a 50-50. My ex-husband, Billy, and I share whenever, we have a pretty much open door whenever the kids want to go wherever. It's kind of great, actually. So Brian has 2 older kids. They live in Tennessee. They have kids of their own. So my 4 are within the home half the time, I guess is the proper way to put it. So, I don't know how to put it. I have had to recreate boundaries that I've never really had to. I've been in long-term relationships before with my children and lived with a guy. So they have seen this pattern, I guess it could be called. I've had long-term relationships with them in the home with men that are not their father. So I feel that this time is different. I have told them this time is different, but kids don't understand this time is different. They have to see it and experience it. And I feel like the relationship is budding, for lack of a better word. But there's still trial and error every day. And let me tell you, when we met on Friday to talk about this, I think I mentioned this last episode, and I was like, I don't really have a story because it's been almost a year. Yeah. And we're still in that honeymoon, no big arguments. Well, this weekend. Yeah. Yeah. I shouldn't have said yet, I guess. One of the things, that what you talked about with us about moving in is this certain situation, and having a plan in place for rules of the home versus discipline, with the children in the home. And I had read some things, Bonnie's really good about the Focus on the Family app. They have some really great suggestions, and how, who disciplines. So we were all sitting down to dinner at my house. I'd cooked, and, something was said, and Tristan wasn't following Brian's directions. Like, he was a little assertive. Tristan, with her dad, he comes down on her really hard. So I've made suggestions. You kind of have to talk her through it instead of just being hard on her. She doesn't respond well. Well, when you haven't been through those things in your own life, it's hard to learn them on the fly. And Tristan is a lot. Yeah. Like, she is.
High energy.
Yes, like me. But being the mom in that moment, I've got my boyfriend or, chosen partner. And then I have my daughter, who I have put through trauma, as well as her father continues to put her through trauma. So being in that seat in that moment, like, I had to make a quick decision, and I felt that he was hard on her. So I backed her up, and it caused a big argument. He felt that he wasn't heard. Tristan got fearful just by hearing, because Brian doesn't yell, or, and I don't yell usually. So in that moment, I was like, what did I do? Like, it was a very hard thing to go through for the first time, but coming together afterwards, getting a better plan in place. Tristan went to apologize if she had any part in it, so it was hard because I haven't been in that position with him yet. And then for it to happen on the night that we talked about boundaries in this exact situation, I was just like, I just want to be silent. I don't want to talk about nothing, because
devil working overtime.
It was. I mean, it surprised me, because it can start over something so small. Like, it was literally, I think Tristan picked something up, but by the way she heard it. And if you're feeling some type of way in that moment, it escalated really quickly. And if he had a hard day at work, it all just...
Of course. I got a blended family too. I can see how it can get there really fast.
I mean, you go through this, too. And if you're not reaching out to mentors or people that have walked through this, I immediately reached out, to Bonnie and other, women to just get some suggestions so I could, heal from it or make better decisions the next time. I know it's a little different when you're married, it's maybe why the Bible suggests marriage, before. But, God set boundaries. We didn't follow them. This is what, but we chose this, and we're still choosing it, today. So, I'd rather go through it now and put some more boundaries in place and make better decisions together, rather than being quick to speak, because we were a little quick to speak this weekend.
Yeah. Happens.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with the blended family side, no one wants to see, so if I'm upset at something that Bonnie's daughter's doing, and then, of course, I'm going to be venting that to her, and then it's basically then I just keep reporting back to her all this negative stuff about her daughter. No one likes to hear that stuff said about their kid, whether it's true or not. You still don't like to hear it, So then that causes a divide. It's caused many years of divide between us. I mean, in fact, I would probably say that's one of the number one things that's caused problems for us is having stepchildren within the house and the dynamic of how does this all look like? How does, who's disciplining who? And, she's like a little more reserved in person. So really, I've never rocked her. But I've gotten close, very mad. And I mean, and who do you better share that with than your spouse? Of course.
And when you've been the one to give birth to this child, you've been through labor, you've been through almost 18 years. I'm sure, and that's exactly why I look to Bonnie going through these situations, but following this heated talk, whatever you want to call it. But, I got to ask him a little bit more about his, growing up, and I opened more about Tristan's trauma that she's been through. So now I feel like we have and if that had to happen to open up a little bit more, sometimes it just makes you dig a little deeper for something that you want.
It's good.
Because if we didn't want it, we wouldn't have dug deeper and spoke afterwards. It just would have been, and actually it happened on the day we watched the episode 3. And when you were like, I could have made the worst decision of my life, with Bonnie, I think that we both listened to that too, so.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's how boundaries get set up. You have to go through the experience and then you realize, hey, this didn't end well. This didn't work out. Now let's try to set up some boundaries so that this type of stuff doesn't happen again. So I think that's good that you're kind of working out, who's doing, and we kind of talked about, before, like who's the one that's bringing the discipline when you have a setup like that. And so what we had found best is, I'll discipline Jaden, my son, you discipline Lily, your daughter, and then we'll make it a team effort, when it comes to Layla, which is our daughter together. So I think that's what through trial and error worked the best for us. But even when she had to vent to me about Jaden sometimes, of course it would upset me a bit. So boundary, and then sometimes I'll add boundaries. You may not like them, but it's got to be there. So for us, I don't really agree with this boundary, just being real, but me and Bonnie basically, we don't talk about Lily anymore because it seems to always cause a problem.
Okay.
So
it's not, talking about it may not be worth a fight between you and her.
So. Basically, I have to go to other people and talk about it. And then when something in the house gets to a certain level, then I do have to say something to Lily directly. Hey, I need you to do this. I need you to do that, because I can't tolerate it being like this any longer.
And that's how it goes with Tristan. And I've caught myself going to Tristan and be like, I'm going to have to hear about this. Can you please just not do it where he can hear you? But that's not right either. There needs to be set rules within the house, not the whole discipline, stand in a corner, no phone for 3 hours, whatever it may be, but actual rules. No matter who's home, no matter if my older 3 are there, it needs to be standard for everyone. No one has their phone at the dinner table. If Beckett's still watching a video game or if Coral's on Snapchat, I need to finish up. No, when dinner is ready, no phones.
Right.
So those are set rules that we're trying to put in place. And that goes for me too. If I get a call or, I need to not give access to those people because I've committed and I need to be a role model and an example for my children if I'm trying to get them to do the same thing.
Yeah. And if that's what your living situation is, a blended family, it does need to be defined hey, these are the rules and it's going to be the same by both parents. Maybe one enforces it more.
Right.
But the problem is if it's hey, just don't do this in front of him type of thing, then it's oh, I know that they're okay with it, but the other one's not. So I just go to them for everything. And that can cause even more chaos.
You play one against the other.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man, that's not our calling is take place in that chaos. So
yeah. Yes, absolutely not.
Spouses, in general, kind of going, staying on that for a second, that's probably an endless, topic. But I feel like as you progress in the relationship, you kind of understand each other well enough to know, at this point, a boundary is when Bonnie's upset about something and you try to talk about it and she's snapping at you, whatever. You leave it alone. You don't keep trying to talk about it over and over again or whatever. She knows there's some certain things that, hey, Bon, I don't care about this, but this and this, please do not absolutely do under any circumstance because it really irks me.
Non-negotiables,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. I have non-negotiables, a few things that we both have that we ask of each other. Hey, if you love me, please, I'm asking you to not do this. And we respect that. So I feel like you learn the boundaries along in a relationship. I think it's hard to establish at the beginning. And I think a lot of people that are just dating struggle with the boundary side of who do I let into my life? Who am I dating? I'm not gonna lie, man. I see some people out there. I just feel like it's just like whoever is next, like whoever is available, like that's the person that we're dating. And it's not a knock on anyone like that. You know, I just see, but it's like, I want to help some people. So it's like, I see some stuff and it's not my business. I don't go in there, but I almost want to be like, you're better than that. Like, I love you. It's not a knock on the other person, but I don't think, just thinking of some ladies that just, pick certain men, like I don't think this guy is the man that he needs to be in order to love and respect you the way that you need to be loved and respected. And again, this is, some people could watch, who are you to judge this, that, and the other? I'm just saying, if I see it, I'm trying to save you some heartache. like I don't want you to go through that, because there are some things in their life that they still need to get worked out, right? Before they can be the man that they need to be with you.
And some of the women, I don't think, know their worth to know that 100%. They deserve more. It just, and I was one of them, so I can say it. I did not think that I deserved so many things, but until I learned to love myself and that I'm worth it, then I was open to something better. Truly. I actually reached out to some of the women at HOJ and asked them about boundaries and what, I think I asked, what boundaries do you struggle with, and how has being sober assisted with that, and what boundaries are non-negotiables? Kristen said that I struggle with just allowing anyone in. But since being sober, I'm learning who I am in Christ. So I'm learning not everyone can have access to me. So they had no idea what the titles or anything or these were. And that can be on so many different levels. April said, how about time management and being okay just to sit in my feelings, being able to say no or just not right now, and of putting myself first and learning to be okay with putting ourselves first. So a lot of the same things were, so there's a lot of people struggling with the same things.
I think that's a good place to start. The boundary starts in the beginning. Like, you got to know your worth. You got to know that you're valuable, that, God created, you and has a plan for your life, and obviously wants you to be with the right person. Obviously, God, because marriage is a God ordained entity, right? And so, and I just see so many people, and, we're probably guilty of it ourselves long ago, but just rushing in to wrong relationships with the wrong people who aren't working on themselves or aren't what they need to be in order to love and respect us. And it usually doesn't end well.
No.
So we got to have that boundary. Not everyone can have access to us. And do some research before you just dive into
absolutely.
the next relationship, right? And then kind of going into the kids, because that's a big thing for a lot of us, whether you have mixed families, whether you're working on getting your kid back, whatever it is, there's got to be boundaries for our children. I just shared kind of a story. So we're basically to a place where we have one of them is turning 18.
Okay.
and so for any of my kids, whether it's the one that's already there, the one that's turned 18, and the one that's coming up after, I don't care, step or not, we're going to have the same call to action. We're going to have the same plan in place for every single one of them. Okay. So here's what I came up with. Leading into it, I gave plenty of notice, offered my help plenty of times, but if there's not a plan that's approved by us, or there's not action being taken on that plan, either of those occur, it's $100 a week to live here once you turn 18.
Okay. And that goes for Layla.
That goes for anybody. Mm-hmm. Why? Because I'm not breeding mediocrity, right? Like, I'm not going to allow people to not have a plan in place, to not have a goal, to not be going after something, right? And so I instilled this stuff in Jaden early because of all the years that I wasted. And so, especially I noticed the transition when he got a real taste that, him playing basketball probably isn't going to be his career choice.
I remember that with softball.
Right. So he's playing basketball. He gets a couple years in. They're not playing me. There's really nothing going on. I'm going to quit. And I said, okay, that's fine. But if you quit, you're getting a job immediately. And at first he kind of gave me, so, oh man, I'm just trying to chill with the guys, have a good time. I said, Jaden, we're not going to sit there with a bunch of idle time. I'm not going to allow that to happen to you.
Because we know what.
Exactly. Idle time's the devil's playground, and we know where that leads. So the answer is no. So the offer is, if you're going to quit sports, that's fine, but you're going to get a job. And so immediately he started working. In fact, I remember one of them was the last summer. He was just working a few hours here and there. And I said, okay, we're going to make an agreement on this one. This the last summer you're hanging out with everyone and doing all this stuff. And from now on, you're going to be grinding and doing. He's like, yes, Dad, I agree to that. And he saw the value of that, and that's what he started doing. So we had the plan in place for when he turned 18, got his pharmacy tech certification, and then he's eventually going to go back to college. He already started going back to college. That was the plan at the time, to pursue the doctorate degree. So I don't mind that. I don't mind if you even have a full-time job. Like if you got something that you're excelling in a career, you're working 40 hours a week and you're going towards a goal of possibly moving up in that organization, the management, better pay, whatever it is. I don't mind any of that. I'm not asking you to be like
just some purpose.
I'm not asking you to save the world. But we got to do something, man. So if we're not working a full-time job, we don't have a career or whatever, I'm sorry, but it's $100 a week to live here. And so this has been, rough for us as, a family unit. As you can imagine, it's hard on my wife, but she's in agreement with me. But she had to put up a boundary with me by saying recently, hey, all this is happening in the next month. It's really hard for me. I need you to be extra nice to me about it.
So you got to be nice.
Yeah. And it's been a little hard because I put up with so much leading up to this point that I'm not changing this line. We're not, there's no negotiation. This is what it is 1,000%. Right. But at the same time, I got to respect her asking me, to put that boundary
compassion up. for her.
Yeah. But at the same time, we got to have boundaries with our kids, whatever that looks like. So I don't know. That may sound harsh to some people watching, but unfortunately that's the decision that we made. That's what we came up with our family. And I got to toe the line on this one, man.
Well, so that happened with, me and Brian. I would think that was Friday. So Saturday, I go to take Tristan. I actually was going to get some new High on Jesus shirts. So I went and was going to go tie-dye some.
Nice.
So I took Tristan to our local Michael's. Everything was hunky-dory. Get out of the car. She's, we're listening to music, walking into Michael's. I go grab 2 white tees and I'm like, hey, there's a canary yellow. I don't have a yellow HOJ shirt. So I throw it in the buggy. She goes ballistic. Like, screaming, I want one. And I'm like, I'm on a budget. I just had a lot of car problems. I got bills, rent's due next week, and I'm like, I don't have, no means no. Like, absolutely not. I told you get one shirt. Your behavior hasn't been the greatest. One shirt. We're going to go tie dye him. You should be, my mouth sometimes gets the best of me. You're lucky I'm even doing that. I mean, how many times have we said that, right?
Yep.
So we start going towards the checkout. She's like hitting stuff. Like, I've never seen her like this. She's outrageous. Like, I'm thinking of like social media, who's recording me. I think I had a High on Jesus shirt on if I usually. So then she crashes the buggy into something. And all I can think of is to get her out of this store. So at this point, I'm still thinking I'm going to buy these shirts because I wanted them. Right. And so I put hers back. She picks it up. She's stomping towards the register and she's like, this is the day before Mother's Day, right? I hate you. Screams. You're the worst mother. And it just echoes in Michael's. Like, and I don't know whether to cry. You know what I wanted to do? Like, I wanted to pick her up and take her somewhere. And then she reaches back and slaps me across my arm and is like just this voice. I did not even recognize my daughter. So
wow.
She goes back and forth to me and her dad's. Like, her dad keeps saying, your mom's going to go back out. She's going to leave again, like, so she hears all this. But I kind of co-sign her crap sometimes, because I can't buy, the time that I lost. I can't I can't do any of that. All I can do is try to be present now and do the right thing. So I'm like, nope, not buying the shirts. We're leaving. So I try to walk out. She's throwing the shirts everywhere in Michael's, punches the automatic door. I'm walking out. And all I can think of is these people were probably on social media, like tagging Austin with a Y. Like,
this is how you want your kid to never act.
Yes.
What kind of parent is she that she allows this to happen to her kid?
I'm being transparent here. I've had CPS in my house a few times through my relapses and through my using, you know. So I'm walking out. No joke. I'm walking out of Michael's like this, like, cause she's like hitting me and pulling on me. And I'm like, I'm not touching her. Like, so we get to the car and I call my mom and I'm like, Mom, and she can hear, you know, I'm like, I need a reprieve, you know. And so my mom met me, took her, cause my mom's leaving for a week. So now she's in like panic mode.
Did you do like the police, the extra things are putting her in the car, doing knee her in the rib? I mean, what I wanted to do in that moment, but I was like, I have a plan in place. Bonnie was, you know, I messaged Bonnie. She answered right away. Oh, man.
I got Tristan to my mom. I took 2 hours, got in my Bible, called my sponsor, called a person that I look up to at Oasis, got my mind right, called Brian, let him know, like, that maybe the night before wasn't all his fault.
Oh man, I
seeing
feel for
that
you.
trauma that she went through, and like my mom was able to like circle it back to her, like, Tristan, you don't want your mom to leave. Like, if that behavior could cause her, you know, like, it wasn't the fact that I never wanted to drink through that. Like, that never came up, but I would have used that any other time as an excuse. Like, I can't handle this, but it never came up.
Yeah.
And I had a plan in place. So those boundaries, I would have usually bought the shirts anyway, just to make, because if I'd have bought
to shut
the yellow
her up,
shirt,
that's okay. You're going to say it. Shut her up.
Yeah. If I'd have bought the yellow shirt, none of that would have occurred. But if I don't put that boundary in place, but then I was mad because I didn't get my yellow shirt, you know, I went and bought him yesterday, but you know, and Mom made a suggestion. We went back to Michael's and she apologized to the people behind the counter. Good. So like, she walked through that with me together.
That's good.
So it was able to come full circle. We both learned a little bit. And I realized that she probably needs to talk to somebody. Like, cause that was so out of character. I thought it was out of character, but she's got some pent up stuff she's dealing with. But first of all,
I didn't realize that reel I saw going viral was you guys at Michael's.
Right. You didn't realize that was Tag of High Jesus there, you know. But
so first, I'm just hearing that. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I feel so bad for you because that had to be so embarrassing. That is not even funny because I have seen other people's kids take off like that, and I'm just like, what in the world? I'd be like, Bonnie, bro, I would stone cold stun that kid. Like,
listen, but I was like, Jesus, please just get me. I had little steps in play. I was like, Jesus, let me just get out of this store. I got out of the store. I'm like, just let me get her to the car. Like, she was opening the car door, like, while I was trying to drive off. I mean, all it would have taken was the wrong person to see it and take a picture of my tag, and that was a wrap, you know? But
yeah, that's the episode we talk about kids where that's the time you got to try to find something good about them because you're not thinking about nothing good in that moment.
She wrote me an apology letter, like, you know, but she's like, I promise I'll never do it again. And I was like, okay. Cause I mean, my mom told her, she's like, Tristan, if Austin would have acted like that, I wouldn't have been able to sit down for a week. Yeah, she'd have taken that belt, and
no doubt.
You know,
my
today,
dad,
you know, I would have got lit up like a Christmas tree.
The same thing, man. When the kids do stuff, I did tell Bonnie, but I would have got beat bloody for a quarter of that. That just occurred. Like, you guys have no clue how blessed you are, man. That doesn't occur.
But like,
it was the board and the belt was standard issue and closed fists if necessary on top of that. Like, but them kids don't know about that.
But yeah, I will never tell you I have no stories ever again because I got too produced, just like it was a genie.
That is wild, man.
Yeah, that was my Friday, Saturday. And then Mother's Day.
Oh, man. And doesn't it like, because I've had like not to that extreme, but just different things like when I'm sending Layla to school in a certain manner, whatever it is. Don't you like feel like it, like almost as a representation as you as a parent? If I would have been sitting there, I would have just been thinking about all these people think that I just let this kid do whatever. I let her get away with murder. And like, I've even said that to Layla before. I'm like, the way you act sometimes, they probably think at the school, like I don't even discipline you. Yeah, I don't even discipline you when that couldn't be farther from the truth of what actually occurs. Like, so I feel you in those moments, man. They're so embarrassing and it's just so like.
But for once, I didn't add to it. I just kept my mouth shut, and they were probably like, boy, when that kid gets home, it is on.
I almost wondered what would happen if someone would have said anything. So I don't know if this was right to do or not, but like, so someone when I was in CVS, like a while ago, whatever, the kid was just taking off on the mom. Oh, honey, settle down. And you could tell, we're probably assumed that that's probably was a free roll design. I went by, I couldn't stand anymore. I was like, bro, I was like, hey. And he looked at me, he's like, what? I'm like, you need to respect your mom, son. Like, you don't need to be talking to her like that. And even she looked at me like all crazy, and he looked at me. He stopped for a minute though. When like
all I could honestly, when Tristan was acting like that, I was like, boy, if Brian or Justin walked in here and saw her, I was like, because you've corrected her a couple times when she's just doing minor stuff. Like, but I feel like that day she was pushing to see how far she could, and I stood my ground because, like I said, I make exceptions, but I need to stop doing that. Mm-hmm. The further I grow, I got to fill in those gaps and bring it in closer and show her what boundaries do. Because when we make safe places for ourselves, it makes our kids safer and everything else. But like, I don't know, man, that was rough.
That's why marriage is supposed to be a man and a woman. Sometimes a man does need to be like, hey, listen here, and it's not going down like that. Like,
yeah.
Crazy, man.
Just like you bring Bonnie in for the nose, I could bring Brian in for the nose.
Crazy.
Yeah, so that was nuts. Absolutely.
So sometimes in those moments that we're setting boundaries or boundaries are being crossed, it's easy for those emotions to overwhelm us a bit. You kind of mentioned something about Jesus flipping tables.
Yes.
The other day when we were talking.
Yes. And it says, Jesus flipped tables not because he was angry, but because someone crossed a boundary in God's house. Mm. So yes, I have had flipping table moments too. I mean, my kids have seen me act at a character in my using. But now, I mean, I think you got a voicemail with one of them on there.
You were in your boundary moment there.
Yes. They messed with my seats and everything else in my car that I just got. But I need to save those moments for when I know that it's a teachable moment, because if you do it all the time, they're just going to think it's a reaction. So when you do it, when you're trying to teach them and show them the correct way or the right way, then I think they can observe and accept it. But if you're just acting like that all the time, like
Absolutely.
so I do think that needs to be saved for those right moments, because if I would have just hollered back at Tristan in the store, it would have just escalated,
No doubt.
So.
Yeah, it would have been chaos. I found this when we were, just trying to wrap up the how can we have boundaries, healthy boundaries in our life. It says the Bible teaches that setting healthy boundaries is essential for well-being and fulfilling God's design for our lives. It's about honoring God by respecting our own needs, time, and energy, and also honoring others by respecting their boundaries. Boundaries are not selfish, but rather a reflection of God's wisdom for creating a balanced and healthy life.
That's it right there. I guess I should have read that before this weekend.
But those boundaries have to be in place. Again, I think it's talking about that self-care side of it. I mean, this is our well-being, fulfilling God's plan means getting with God. I mean, if we let things, whether our families or all this good stuff, we could talk about whatever, fill in the blank, get in the way of our relationship with God. Mm-hmm. Our serenity's out the window and it just takes us to a bad place. We gotta have the time for that.
What just popped in my head was, I told you that we get up early in the mornings, and if I don't get up earlier than everybody, I don't get my time. Every morning Brian gets up at 5, he watches the news, and I always pack his lunch. It's like my thing.
Nice.
scrambled eggs, whatever, meat, sometimes steak, sometimes whatever.
Man, he gets the full deal.
Yeah,
full 4-course meal
Friday.
buffet.
Yeah.
Man,
so it's just something that he works. Either he's usually my ACA, but he's a machine operator. So doesn't have really access to being out there. There's no Wendy's or there's no anywhere to go. So, and plus I love to cook and I love being able to do that for him. But on some mornings, I wake up and I'm not so ready to get up and do that if I don't have to get going to get the kids ready. So, but I've learned on those days when I don't get with Jesus like 10 minutes before and I got to take the dogs out, the trash is overflow,
Yes.
So it's, it becomes that have to instead of that get to. So, that right there, when you said that I need to honor my own time, be like, hey, tomorrow I need the day off, and he'll be fine with it. He'll just make a sandwich and go on.
Yeah.
But, I need to remember that communication about what I need for my boundary instead of just expecting them to realize I don't want to get up and make his lunch. We think the other person should just know.
Right.
And
I think to close, it's, boundaries are not selfish, but rather a reflection of God's wisdom for creating a balanced and healthy life. So I think it's what we got to remember in whatever it is. Obviously, you can be selfish, I guess, if you're only thinking of yourself when you're setting all these parameters. But I think if you're really going with an honest, open heart to God, what are some things that I need to put in place, whether it's my spouse, the kids, the mixed family, people having access to me, whatever it is. And it's okay to say no to people. It's okay to not answer every single phone call and text. It's okay to not respond to every incident that goes on in your house. I think that's, the best thing to remember when establishing those boundaries.
I think our motives behind whatever it is key too.
100%.
Absolutely.
So if you stuck with us for that whole episode, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys watching, man. Appreciate the support. Please comment down below, what part spoke to you, what meant something to you. Comment if you want some topics in the future you want us to talk about. Absolutely. We'd love to hear about that as well. And, again, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Like this video, put that comment on there, and we'll be signing off.
I'm Austin with a Y.
Just in Time with Justin Hallis, and we will see you next week. We're going to talk about finances next week.
Jesus paid it all, but the rent's still due.
Rent's due. We'll see y'all next week.
All right, guys. Have a great week.